your host, Nizzy. And in this video, you guys, we're going to be giving you a little game preview between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Green Bay Packers coming up on Sunday afternoon football. You guys, should be a good matchup. Steelers are fighting for their lives at a 1-2 record right now. The last thing they want to do is fall to 1-3 on the season. Packers are trying to keep the streak rolling here and get to 3 victories in a row. Right real quick before we start breaking down this game preview, you guys, if you go ahead and like this video, if you like sporting content like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're looking for more sporting content like this in the near future. I've been getting a lot of support lately, you guys, and it means a lot to me, man. I'm going to keep coming out with as many videos as possible for you guys. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start breaking down this game preview. Like I said, we got the 2-1 Packers versus the 1-2 Steelers. Steelers are going to be fighting for their absolute lives right now. If they fall to 1-3, their chances of making a playoff push go out the window pretty much, especially in the division they're in. They got some tough teams that they got to beat in Baltimore, Cleveland, and even the Bengals are looking a lot better this season. So they're going to be playing hungry. This is one of those trap games, as I like to call it, especially with the Packers coming off a big-time win over the San Francisco 49ers last week. They might be coming in a little bit overconfident here. Hopefully it works out in our favor and we just keep the ball rolling, but it could be one of those trap games where the Steelers just come in and take over the game, which I hope does not happen, but we'll have to see. I got the Packers still winning the game. We'll get into the final score details later on, you guys, but I guess we'll start off with the injury reports for both teams here. Starting off with the Packers first, you guys. Probably the biggest news that came out on, I believe it was Friday there, and the final injury report is MVS will be out for Sunday's game with a hamstring injury. Now, there is potential that he might be going on the short-term IR with that hamstring. Let's hope that's not the case. Hopefully he'll be ready to go next week. But he will be out for this game with a hamstring injury. We also got Tyler Lancaster out with COVID-19 protocol, so he will not be out in Sunday's game. Kevin King is questionable with a concussion. Once again, the dude's just not available. I can't believe we re-signed him this offseason. He hasn't been very good at all in the games that he has played so far this year. And then he's already dealing with injury woes to start off the season here, which I honestly, to be honest, you guys, I hope he doesn't play. I thought our defense was much better against San Francisco with him off the field. Eric Stokes is looking like that number 2 corner that we need alongside Jair there. So I'll be happy if he doesn't play, but he is questionable right now with a concussion. Then we got Jenkins doubtful with his ankle injury still. Elton Jenkins, one of our top offensive linemen. He's probably not going to be playing. I really like the way that offensive line held up in last week's game against San Francisco there. So we're going to need a big-time performance again this week against the Steelers, obviously, with that nasty pass rush that they got. TJ Watt's going to be back in the fold as well, coming off that groin injury. So they're going to be bringing the pressure on Aaron Rodgers. We're going to need that offensive line to step up. In Jenkins' absence there. We also got Chris Barnes questionable with a concussion, our middle linebacker. Devondre Campbell's been outstanding. Chris Barnes has been the second go-to guy in that middle linebacker core. I did like what I seen from Ty Summers and Oren Burke stepping up to the plate and filling in for him when he did get injured in last week's game there early on. Hopefully he'll be ready to go by game day here. But if not, I do like our backup guys. They've stepped up big time this year in Oren Burks and Ty Summers. They're looking a lot better than they did last year. So they'll kind of probably split those minutes if Chris Barnes is unavailable. We also got Jack Heflin questionable with an ankle, one of our defensive linemen. And then the last one, kind of bigger news, is Zadarius Smith. We already knew he was on the IR, but we just found out yesterday that he ended up going in for back surgery, so he's going to be missing the foreseeable future, possibly the entirety of this season. So his role with the Packers and his future with the Packers is kind of up in the air right now, you guys, especially with his contract extension looming at the end of this season. Obviously, we're in big-time cap trouble after this season, so we'll have to see what happens and how all that unfolds. But unfortunate news, that Big Z there is not going to be able to play for the foreseeable future. Hopefully he's ready to go for playoffs. That's pretty much, I would hope, what the Packers' goal is, to have that guy ready for playoffs this year, if possible. And then heading over to the Steelers, you guys, they don't have as many guys injured. They got a few guys on IR, but they've been on IR for a while already, so we're not going to address that. We'll just go through the guys that are injured this week and going to be missing this week's game. And defensive tackle Carlos Davis is going to be out with a knee injury for the Steelers. Another defensive tackle, DeMarcus Christmas, is questionable with an undisclosed injury. And then they have another wide receiver, Rico Bussey, who is out with an undisclosed injury. And like I said, they got a couple other guys that are on the IR list, just like the Packers do. The Packers got, 4 or 5 guys on the IR, but they've been there for a while, so I didn't address those injuries because they're not newer injuries. And then for the keys to the game, you guys, We'll start off with the Steelers here. I think probably one of the biggest keys to the game for them is going to be getting pressure on Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, they got TJ Watt back in the fold there, so that's going to be a big time help for them on that defensive front, being able to rush the passer. If they're going to want to, force some turnovers and, make Aaron Rodgers have a tough day, they're going to need to get the pressure on him, not give him a lot of time inside the pocket, make a move outside the pocket, and just have that pocket collapse early on in the possessions. And that'll definitely help the Steelers in maybe forcing some turnovers or forcing 3-and-outs and being able to get the ball back in Ben Roethlisberger's hands. And another key to the game for the Steelers will be running the football. They've been absolutely atrocious at running the football so far this season. Obviously, they drafted Najee Harris there, who I think is going to be a big primetime running back for them in the future here, but we know that that wasn't their biggest problem. Their biggest problem in the offseason was addressing that offensive line, which they really didn't do. They don't have a lot of great offensive line talent right now, and you can tell through the first 3 weeks of the season that that's probably their biggest weak point within that team. So they're going to have to figure out a way to get creative and be able to run the ball, kill the clock out, and limit the possessions for the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. And then another way for them to be able to do that is not turning the ball over. Obviously, Big Ben threw it for like 58 times last week, which is just not ideal. You don't want to have a guy ever throwing for 50-plus passes in a game. So that's going to be huge for them to get a little more balance. Obviously, Big Ben throwing the ball that many times, he is a little bit turnover prone. So if he's throwing up 50, 60 passes a game, I would expect us to get an interception or two on him. So they're going to have to really be careful with the ball, not turning it over and giving Aaron Rodgers extra possessions. Otherwise, that's just going to kill their momentum throughout the game. So those are the keys to the game for the Steelers, you guys. And heading over to the Green Bay Packers, keys to the game. I think one of the biggest things we're going to have to do is dominate the time of possession, which is just going to really help us out, tire out the defensive front of the Pittsburgh Steelers, guys like TJ Watt, and just the rest of the guys on that defensive line, as well as their middle linebackers and their secondary. They got a really good secondary out there in Pittsburgh. So we're just going to have to tire those guys out early on, have long drives, dominate time of possession, try and keep the ball out of the Pittsburgh Steelers' hands. And if we can do that early on in the game, I believe that they're going to be too tired, and then we'll be able to kind of pull away with the victory in this game. Same thing with that. We've got to have a quick start. I think it means a lot, man, especially you look at the 49ers there. We were able to start with the football, go down, score a touchdown on the first drive, get the lead. It seems like whenever we get a lead, it's a lot better for our team. Our defense usually plays a lot better with a lead as well. So I think it's going to be huge if we do win that coin toss, at the beginning of the game to take the ball, drive it down the field for a touchdown early on, try and get a quick start to the game, get an early lead, which I think will help us out in the long run in this game. I think another huge one for us, you guys, is going to be winning the battle in the trenches. Obviously, we got a bunch of guys out on the defensive line and offensive line right now. We're dealing with a lot of injuries to those units. So we're going to need some guys to step up big time. We were able to win the battle of the trenches last week against San Francisco, even though we were dealing with all those injuries, which was a super impressive performance for our offensive and defensive fronts. We're going to need more of the same this week because the Steelers' pass rush is nasty, especially with TJ Watt back in the fold. That offensive line is going to have another great game. Going to need a lot of extra chip blocks that big Robert Tonyan was throwing against Nick Bosa there in the 49ers. We're going to need some of those chip blocks against TJ Watt from the guy if we're going to want to have a chance to keep Aaron Rodgers standing upright in this game. And then one last key to the game, you guys. I think the Packers' special teams is going to have a better performance. We got to stop allowing those big-time returns. I mean, that touchdown would have never been scored at the end of the first half there if we didn't allow that huge return, which kind of set them up in nice field position, gave them enough time to drive down the field. So it's going to be huge for us, you guys, to be able to have a better performance on special teams as well, not giving them any short fields or anything like that when we're punting or on kickoffs. So those are the keys to the game for the Packers, you guys. Should be a good matchup. I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think. I think the line right now is at -6.5 for the Packers. Should be interesting anyways. We'll have to see what happens. I got the Steelers being a little bit closer than that. I don't think the Packers are going to be able to win by a touchdown here. I got a feeling it's going to be a 30-27 victory for the Green Bay Packers. Like I said, the Pittsburgh Steelers are fighting for their lives here to try and keep up in their division. If they fall to 1-3, their season is virtually over. So they're going to be playing with a little bit of desperation here on Sunday afternoon football, and that's why I believe the game is just going to be closer than what people may expect. So I got 30-27 for the Packers, you guys. Final score: Packers move to 3-1, Steelers move to 1-3 on the season. Would love to get your guys' opinion in the comment section down below. What do you think the Packers' chances are of winning this game? What do you think the final score is going to be on Sunday afternoon, you guys? Like I said, would love to get your opinion in the comment section down below. Once again, you guys, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video and every video on my channel. It means a lot, man. Please go ahead and like this video if you like sporting content like this. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're looking for more sporting content like this in the near future. And this is Nizzy with Nizzy Sports Chat.